It was found that, while many companies express interest in Jacobson's use case approach, actual scenario usage often falls outside what is described in textbooks and standard methodologies. Users therefore face significant scenario management problems not yet addressed adequately in theory or practice and are demanding solutions to these problems. The most important issue is concerned with the problem of funding. Social services receive different donations or grants from the government. However, these sums are not sufficient for the solution of all problems. The second most important issue consists of huge spending. The money social services achieve is not enough for normal functioning. The third problem, affecting human services, is the lack of skilled and experienced employees. I had not yet fully grasped the way that the prosperity gospel had become the great civil religion, offering another transcendent account of the core of the American dream. Rather than worshipping the founding of America itself, the prosperity gospel worshipped Americans. It deifies and ritualizes their hungers, their hard work and moral fiber. The immunotherapy drugs appear to be working, and we are watching and waiting with scans. I hope I will live a long time. I hope I will live long enough to embarrass my son and to watch my husband lose his beautiful hair. And I think I might. But I am learning to live and to love without counting the cost, without reasons and assurances that nothing will be lost. It was found that, while many companies express interest in Jacobson's use case approach, actual scenario usage often falls outside what is described in textbooks and standard methodologies. Users therefore face significant scenario management problems not yet addressed adequately in theory or practice and are demanding solutions to these problems. The starting point of Bergson's theory is the experience of time and motion. Time is the reality we experience most directly, but this doesn't mean that we can capture this experience mentally. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. The only reality is the present, which is real through our experience. A constellation is an area on the celestial sphere in which a group of stars forms an imaginary outline or pattern, typically representing an animal, mythological person or creature, or an inanimate object. The origins of the earliest constellations likely go back to prehistory. "1915 must have been an exciting year to be a physicist. Two new ideas were turning the subject on its head. One was Einstein's theory of relativity, the other was arguably even more revolutionary: quantum mechanics, a mind-meltingly strange yet stunningly successful new way of understanding the microworld, the world of atoms and particles." This is the most horrible truth, and I so resent it. But it's an inside job, and we can't arrange peace or lasting improvement for the people we love most in the world. They have to find their own ways, their own answers. You can't run alongside your grown children with sunscreen and chopstick on their hero's journey. Our true person is outside of time and space, but looking at the paperwork, I can, in fact, see that I was born in 1954. My inside self is outside of time and space. It doesn't have an age. I'm every age I've ever been, and so are you, although I can't help mentioning as an aside that it might have been helpful if I hadn't followed the skin care rules of the 60s, which involved getting as much sun as possible while slathered in baby oil and basking in the glow of a tinfoil reflector shield. Computerized admission system does not need to send evidence of their academic results. Computerized admission system does not need to send evidence of their academic results. If you prefer to borrow books, go to the Wellington Library. If you prefer to borrow books, go to the Wellington Library. In our life's journey we all meet strange people and undergo so many experiences. In our life's journey we all meet strange people and undergo so many experiences. Our life is a vast and storehouse of stories. Our life is a vast and storehouse of stories. Sparkhill University campus is small in comparison with most universities in Britain. Sparkhill University campus is small in comparison with most universities in Britain. Students who are unable to enroll on the first day of term must contact the admission office. Students who are unable to enroll on the first day of term must contact the admission office. There are many places of interest in Beijing, such as the Forbidden City and the Great Wall. There are many places of interest in Beijing, such as the Forbidden City and the Great Wall. There is a most developed underground system in London, but the traffic there is still terrible. There is a most developed underground system in London, but the traffic there is still terrible. All students in engineering courses spent 1 year working on war experience. All students in engineering courses spent 1 year working on war experience. I have a sandwich and milk for my breakfast. I have a sandwich and milk for my breakfast. The following image represents the information about the age group. According to the image, in 85 plus, the value of female age is around 0.4%. We can see from this image that the highest value of female age is in 1 to 15, which is 15.5%. On the other hand, the smallest number of male age is 0.8%. Overall, we can say that female and male have almost the same percentage in any age group. The given image represents the information about favorite type of movie, which includes comedy, action, romance, drama and science fiction. According to the image, the comedy movies fans is around 4 and the action movie fans number is around 5. The maximum number can be seen in romance movie which is around 6. The least number of fan following is in drama movies. Overall, romance has the highest value. The following image provides the information about internet users who accessed via mobile phone. According to the image, we can see that the age group 16 to 24 has the maximum number, which is around 70%. The least can be seen at the age group of 65 plus. The age group 25 to 34 and 35 to 44 are at the second and third highest. Overall, we can see that this graph is very informative. The following image represents the information about the mosquito life cycle. It shows how the process is done. According to the image, we can see that the first step is the adult laying eggs into the water. The second step is eggs gets developed as the larva below the surface of the water. The third step is the larva developing as the pupa, and the next step is the adult emerging on the water surface. The final step is a new fully developed adult flying out of water. In conclusion, this graph is very informative. The following image represents the information about how to use a plastic bottle as a bird feeder. According to the picture, it is clear that on the first stage, there is a water bottle with two pencils in it, which is brown and blue, respectively, and the bottle is full of food. After that, on the second stage, the two pencils are replaced with two spoons, which are made of wood. In conclusion, the little bird standing on the spoon can get food from the bottle, and we can see the caps of two bottles have different colors, namely blue and white. The following image represents the information about the life cycle of a frog. It has 6 stages in total, and it is a continuous process. It starts with an egg mass which is produced by an adult frog. The eggs become small tadpoles. Later, legs are grown, and the tadpoles become tadpoles with legs. The size has become a little bit bigger. After that, tadpoles come into the young frog stage, where the frog has 4 legs, but with a small, short tail. After the tail falls off, the frog becomes an adult frog eventually. The size becomes much bigger. The adult frogs can lay eggs, so that the process can be continued. In conclusion, this image gives a vivid illustration of the life cycle of a frog. To be a successful entrepreneur, you should have good ideas, but the definition of a good idea varies depending on whom you ask. A great idea should have several features. Firstly, the great idea should be various and novel. Secondly, the great idea should be unique, which means no one has thought about it. Thirdly, it is essential for great ideas to be transformative and productive. All ideas are essentially a combination of other smaller ideas, but this doesn't mean they can't be unique. Merely copying doesn't make anything idiosyncratic, it's the individuality that one puts in which makes a concept stand out. Constant innovation leaves no room for stagnation and thus adds on to the basic idea, effectively making it unique. Unique ideas are inspired by basic things, they are simply extensions of pre-existing notions. And an idea or a concept is unique only when it transcends its predecessor and serves its purpose in a better and more precise way. The lecture was on entrepreneur. Speaker talked about how the definition of good ideas varies from person to person. She mentioned that a good ideas soon have various features such as uniqueness and productive. She also discussed a way in which good ideas can be transformative and productive. She highlighted that good ideas are unique and they are inspired by small things. Overall, we can say that lecture was very useful.
I want to talk about the other pandemic, which is cardiovascular disease, diabetes, hypertension, all of which are completely preventable for at least 95% of people just by changing diet and lifestyle. And what's happening is that there's a globalization of illness occurring. The people are starting to eat like us and live like us and die like us. And in one generation, for example, Asia has gone from having one of the lowest rates of heart disease and obesity and diabetes to one of the highest. And in Africa, cardiovascular disease equals the HIV and AIDS deaths in most countries. So there's a critical window of opportunity we have to make an important difference that can affect the lives of literally millions of people and practice preventive medicine on a global scale. Heart and blood vessel diseases still kill more people, not only in this country, but also worldwide than everything else combined, and yet it's completely preventable for almost everybody. It's not only preventable, it's actually reversible, and for the last almost 29 years, we've been able to show that by simply changing diet and lifestyle, using these very high-tech, expensive, state-of-the-art measures to prove how powerful these very simple and low-tech and low-cost interventions can be, like quantitative arteriography before and after a year and cardiac PET scans.
The lecture was on globalization of illness. He mentioned that all cardiovascular disease, diabetes and hypertension are preventable only if people change their diet and lifestyle. He talked about the rate of heart diseases in Asia, which has gone lower in numbers as compared to obesity and diabetes, which are at the highest. He mentioned that if people simply change the lifestyle and diet can lower the occurrence of diseases. Overall, we can say that the lecture is very useful.
What do we call a car that needs to be charged? What do we call three children born at the same time to the same mother? What do we call a person whose responsibility is to correct others' mistakes? What do they call the pieces of puzzle which players try to piece together? What is the couple's formal relationship called? What do we call a long, metal stick a player used to hit the ball in golf? What is the low land between two hills or mountains? Where do actors rehearse before a play? What do we call people who have two jobs? What is the subject studying the nature of society? What do we call a person who do things with the left hand?